Hey everyone, it's triplemangothreat. Today we're going over a less than $20 budget commander deck. Our commander being Tymaret, the Murder King. But before we get started, I wanted to let you know that there is now merch available, and if you decide to buy the deck or some cards from it, please click the deck list below and I will get a small percentage, and this will come at no cost to you guys. Now, let's roll the intro. So our commander is Tymaret the Murder King for a black and a red, legendary creature, zombie warrior 2/2. Pay a 1 and a red, sacrifice another creature. Tymaret the Murder King deals 2 damage to target player. Pay 1 and a black, sacrifice a creature. Return Tymaret from your graveyard to your hand. The deck's theme is going to be Aristocrat, so there will be a lot of things that we're going to be sacrificing, and there will be a lot of value from it. So let's get into the first category. Category number 1 is Mana Rocks. First we have Rakdos Aristocrat for 3 colorless. You can tap to add a black or a red, or you can pay black and red to make it a 3/1 black-red artifact creature devil with first strike until end of turn. Kolaghan Monument for 3 colorless, tap to add a black or red, or you can pay 4 black and red to make it a 4/4 black and red dragon artifact creature with flying until end of turn. Last we have Rakdos Cluestone for 3 colorless. We can tap to add a black or red, or pay a black and red, tap it, sacrifice it, and draw a card. Category number 2 is Drawing Cards. Now my favorite part of Magic is drawing cards, so let's talk about how we can do that in this deck. Harvester of Souls for 4 and 2 black. It's a Death Touch 5/5 demon. Whenever another non-token creature dies, you may draw a card. That's not just your stuff, but even your opponent's. And when it comes to Grim Haruspects, it's 2 and a black, 3/2 human wizard. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, draw a card. So this will specifically be your board. And last we have Smothering Abomination for 2 and 2 black. It's a flying 4/3 Eldrazi. It has Devoid, so it has no color. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice a creature. Whenever you sacrifice a creature, draw a card. In category number 3, let's talk about removal. First up is Doomblade for 1 and 1 black. It's an instant, destroy target non-black creature. Next is Cast Down for 1 and a black. It's an instant, destroy target non-legendary creature. And last we have Tragic Slip for 1 black. Target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn, but it also has Morbid, which says that creature gets -13/13 until end of turn instead if a creature died this turn. And most likely, that will happen. We might have sacked something earlier, or maybe earlier in combat they killed one of our creatures, or removal spell and kill a huge creature of theirs. There's a lot of good possibilities, but honestly, Tragic Slip should be worth more than it is right now. Let's go on to the next category. Category number 4 is, that's a nice creature you have there. First up is a classic. It's Act of Treason for 2 and a red. It's a sorcery. Gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature, it gains haste until end of turn. Next up is Kari Zev's Expertise. It's for 1 and 2 red, another sorcery. Gain control of target creature or vehicle until end of turn. Untap it. It gains haste until end of turn. You may cast a card with converted mana cost 2 or less from your hand without paying its mana cost. And last, the card I'm most excited about is Captivating Crew for 3 and 1 red. It's a human pirate 4/3. For another 3 and a red, gain control of target creature and opponent controls until end of turn. Untap that creature. It gains haste until end of turn. Activate this ability only any time you could cast a sorcery. Another huge part of this deck is taking our opponent's creatures and using them to sack. Since we're in control of them, we can sack them, we can draw more cards, and they lose their creatures, you know? So this is another huge theme in the deck, and I love being able to abuse that. With category number 5, let's talk about some of our sack outlets. First up is Dark Dweller Oracle for 1 and a red. It's a Goblin Shaman. It's a 2/2. Pay 1, sacrifice a creature, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. Next is Lizolda the Blood Witch for 1, a black and a red. It's a legendary creature, human cleric, it's a 3/1. Pay 2, sacrifice a creature. Lizolda the Blood Witch deals 2 damage to target creature or player. If the sacrificed creature was red, draw a card if the sacrificed creature was black. Last we have Vampiric Rites for 1 black, it's an enchantment. Pay 1 and a black, sacrifice a creature, you gain 1 life, and draw a card. So we could be sacrificing our opponent's creatures once we gain control of them, and this will do really well for us, and we get all of the benefit, and you know what, we could swing with the creatures first, and then sacrifice them. Lots of value here. So this segment is the spicy mango of the deck, which means 1 card stood out above all, and I think everyone should get this card when they build this deck. Let's talk about Sheevan Harvest for 1 and a red. It's an enchantment. For 1 and a red, sacrifice a creature. Destroy target non-basic land. We are talking Breeding Pool. You know, a shock land? Or Gaia's Cradle? Or we're talking about Cabal Coffers. For already getting so much value from our deck, this just adds on to it and we get rid of their highly used utility lands. Now let's talk about some of the pingers in the deck with category number 6. First up is Judith the Scourged Diva for 1, a black and a red. It's a 2/2 human shaman. Other creatures you control get +1/+0. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, Judith the Scourged Diva deals 1 damage to any target. Mayhem Devil for 1, a black and a red is a 3/3 devil. Whenever a player sacrifices a permanent, Mayhem Devil deals 1 damage to any target. Last is Falconwrath Noble for 3 and a black. It's a 2/2 vampire, flying. Whenever a Falconwrath Noble or another creature dies, target player loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. If you did not know, pingers get the name for just dealing 1 damage. So again, we are getting so much value from sacrificing our creatures or even our opponents that these 3 and a few more can do really well in your deck. Let's move on to the next category. Category number 7, we have Flingers. So you've probably heard of the card Fling, 1 and a red, it's an instant. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a creature. Fling deals damage equal to the sacrificed creature's power to any target. Next is Bloodshot Cyclops for 5 and a red. It's a 4/4 giant. Tap, sacrifice a creature. Bloodshot Cyclops deals damage equal to the sacrificed creature's power to target creature or player. Now it's obvious we could do this with our own creatures, you know, we still get the die trigger, the sacrifice creature, or, hear me out, we can do this with the opponent's creatures. So they are still losing them, and they lose maybe, let's say it was a 10/10 Eldrazi. Well, I'm going to deal you 10 damage, and I'm going to draw a card because it just so happened to be something I sacrificed. In category number 7, let's talk about die triggers. First up is Tattered Mummy for 1 and a black. It's a zombie jackal 1/2. When Tattered Mummy dies, each opponent loses 2 life. Next is Butcher of Malakir for 5 and 2 black. It's a 5/4 vampire warrior. It has flying. When Butcher of Malakir or another creature you control dies, each opponent sacrifices a creature. Last is Stalking Vengeance for 5 and 2 red. It's a 5/5 avatar. It has haste. Whenever another creature you control dies, it deals damage equal to its power to target player. Now I'm sure you've heard of the card Dictate of Erebos. It's an $8 card, and it does the same thing as Butcher of Malakir, but it just so happens Butcher of Malakir costs a little bit more mana-wise, and it's only 67 cents. So Butcher of Malakir is a great budget option for anyone who doesn't want to spend $8 on a card. Let's move on to the next category. Category number 8 is Bring That Back. First up is Squee the Immortal for 1 and 2 red. It's a 2/1 goblin, legendary creature. You may cast Squee the Immortal from your graveyard or exile. Next is Garna the Blood Flame for 3, a black, and a red. It's a 3/3 human warrior. It has flash. When Garna the Blood Flame enters the battlefield, return to your hand all creature cards in your graveyard that were put there from anywhere this turn. Other creatures you control have haste. Last is Desecrated Tomb for 3 colorless. It's an artifact. Whenever one or more creature cards leave your graveyard, create a 1/1 black bat creature token with flying. So if we do sacrifice Squee, we can actually cast him again and keep drawing cards off of him. Or if we just sack a bunch of creatures, we can cast Garna and get them all back. You made it to the end of the video. If you like this deck or think you want to build it, leave a like. If you want me to make a budget deck of a commander you think of, leave a comment. And if you want to see more of me and this channel, please subscribe. Thank you all so much for watching, and as of this recording, there are 36 subscribers, and I want to say that is so awesome, and I appreciate all the love and support you guys give. Now, roll the merch. I also have some new merch. I'll have a link in the description for all of that, but there will be shirts, hoodies, and long sleeves. Now this design was made by Bookin with Noah, and he happens to be my husband. Leave a comment on his recent video saying that triplemangothreat sent you, and I think he'd really like that. Now the design might seem a bit weird, but the shirt says the legendary 3%. The 3 being the mangoes in the design, but if you didn't know, Magic the Gathering has about 20 million people playing, and 3% of them is women. 3% of 20 million is 600,000. And I just happen to be one of the 600,000. So if you like the design or want to support this channel, please consider buying one of these awesome clothing items. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.